My name is Demi. I am the implementation consultant at Autogen, one of the senior implementation consultants, and we are really excited to have you all here. Yes, sorry, the chat is disabled, but you can use the Q&A panel. That's perfect. Thank you, Matthew, for bringing that up. I'm really excited to take you on this journey to show you Autogen and how it can be used for your bid and proposal writing. So let's get started. In Autogen, you will have the ability to set up a project where you can work collaboratively with your colleagues. So all you have to do is click on New Project, and I am going to call this Webinar. And once you've set up a project, it will look like this. You can have a client name, start date, deadline. You can see how much time you have left, and you can even have a project status. You'll be able to add your team members by clicking on Manage Members, adding in their email address, and they can be seen as a viewer, contributor, or admin. So these are the different levels of access that your members will have to the project. Within your project, this is where you'd have your multiple documents. So if I'm starting a new document and I want to get some ideas for the new bid that I'm working on, then I can have a new document. And within my document, there are multiple prompts here, pre-prompts as I call them, ready to go for you to use straight away. Within a document, you'll also be able to review your text and get bid-specific criteria review. You'll also be able to see different versions of a document. So this all sits within each individual document within your project. Your project, as I said, is a collaborative space for you to work, but you might want to work individually and just have some place where you want to draft and have a private space to keep documents secure before you're ready to share them with the team. So this is your personal space where you can keep your documents secure. And this is essentially where you can work. And once you're done, you can decide if you want to move it to a specific project. You click and then it will move for you. Right. So now that I've got a project set up, I want to maybe get some ideas. So I'm going to head over to the ideator. And as you can see, the ideator says, what do you want to write about? So I want to know, how can AutogenAI software support companies in their bid writing process? So I'm asking a question to get some ideas. I can give it a little bit of context. Maybe I could say it's a bid for an IT contract within the UK government, or I could simply say this is a blog post for AutogenAI's website and LinkedIn page. I actually want to change this question to maybe ask, how is AutogenAI transforming the bid writing industry? Let's get some ideas, or maybe how can. So let's get some ideas on that. How can AutogenAI transform the bid writing industry? And I can decide to modify my ideas. Maybe I want my ideas to be written in a way that is more creative. I can choose to pull from the library, so getting directly from my company's documents, or I can use Creative AI and Internet AI. I'm going to click go, and individual ideas are going to start to pop up for me that I can pick and select and choose which ones I would want to essentially go into my piece of writing. So the idea with the ideator is that it's a great way to get you off of the blank page. If you are writing a bid and you're not exactly sure what you want to go into your bid, you can come to the ideator to pull some ideas from your library or from the internet or Creative AI that you can leverage within your response. So if I click on Library AI, I can see exactly which document this has come from in my library. If I like that idea, I click on that plus button and you'll see that it gets added to what I like to call my brainstorming page, or you could think of it as your storyboarding page. For each sourced idea, you can see where the sources come from. You can also click on it and it will take you to that source. If you are reading something and you're not 100% sure if that is something for you, you can remove that idea and you'll see a new one pops up. So I'm going to select 3 ideas. You can also shuffle your ideas around. You can edit them, and you can also enter your own custom idea. Now, I can just copy my ideas if I want to work on them individually, or I can either synthesize them, which allows me to combine all of my ideas together into a single answer to that particular question that I asked. And I can do this to a targeted word count. Or I can generate my paragraphs, which then gives me an outline to each of my ideas in their own separate paragraphs. And here I can do a targeted word count. So I might want to do 250 words. As you can see, I've decided that I want it to go to my latest document, which is my ideas document that I set up in my project. So I'm going to click 250 words. And once those ideas are generated, it will then take me over to that document that sits within my project. So just to reiterate, the generate paragraphs takes these individual ideas, they kind of become subheadings, and underneath these individual ideas, you'll have a body of text that at a word count target of 250 words. So once these ideas have been generated, they will then move on to the ideas page, as you can see here. And now I've got a decent amount of text, a good starting point, and a structured response just based off of those 3 ideas that I selected. So I might be reading this, and now that I'm in my project, and just to show you, again, to give you a little bit of context, I'm back in my webinar project, and I'm sitting here in this document that I labeled ideas. So now that I'm sitting here, I might read something and go, I actually want to elaborate on this. I maybe want to expound on this piece of information. So I can highlight just a simple sentence or two. I'm going to actually just highlight that little sentence. And you'll see here it says transform. I can decide that I want to expand my text, and I can expand from my library, creative, and internet, and I can also choose my word counts. So I'll expand to 100 words. So it's expanding based off of the text that I've highlighted. So all of these individual buttons, which we call transformations, they are there to transform your text, and they're all pre-prompts ready to go. So you don't have to think about exactly how do I want to type out my prompt. They're prompts ready for you to go that you can just use. With Autogen, you can always rely that it's not going to just make up anything. So if there's no information in your library, it will tell you that it couldn't find any library results. Where you can see here in the internet, which source it's pulling it from, Creative AI, you can see exactly, it won't be able to pull from a particular source because of it's harnessing the large language models. If this is text that I'd like to implement within my writing, wherever my cursor is, I can just use this arrow over here and I can simply insert my text. As we continue along, I might look at this and think, okay, over here on this body of text, let me go and add a case study. And I highlight that text. And what AutogenAI is able to do is to go looking into my library and into the internet if I'd like it to, and it can find a case study that is in relation to the text that I've highlighted. Again, these are all pre-prompts ready for you to use at any moment. A great way to bring evidence into your writing. So often you might be writing and not be 100% sure exactly where do you have a case study on this? Where have you written about this before? You can just highlight a simple phrase. You can highlight a heading and you can see exactly, oh, we've got 3 case studies on this. Fabulous. What sources has it used? And I can see all the sources that it's used in my library. The internet, I can also see what sources it's used. And you can, again, click on each source to take it a little bit further. So I'm going to go with option 2. Again, I'm going to insert this in here. And I'm now starting to get quite a lot of text, a big bit of meaty text. But before I start editing and refining, I maybe want to add a little bit more evidence. And I'm going to highlight one of my favorite features in Autogen, which is the explain how. This is really, really key to bid writing and proposal writing, because it's very easy to say that we're going to do X, Y, Z, but how are you going to do that? The how is that going to be is that going to be implemented? So you can highlight your body of text. So here, in doing so, Autogen delivers win rates, propelling lovely. Autogen, how are we going to do that? Explain how. And it gives you the how, which is a really key element in bid writing. So we'll generate some text and we'll see how is that going to be done. Creative AI is really fantastic here, maybe to give you some creative ideas as to how you can do something. Again, Internet AI giving you lots of sources, pulls from our website and even from YouTube. And if I wanted to, I can click on that and it takes you directly to that source. And you can see here, it's all in our AutogenAI website. And then the library has managed to pull from several sources over there that you can see. So I'm just going to insert that text. And now you can see I've got quite a lot of text here. So that's not something you need to worry about. I know in bid writing, often it's all to the second, to the word, to the full stop. It's so detailed. But what you can do is you can highlight your text. We've got quite a lot of text here. As you can see at the bottom of highlights, it's 763 words. And I maybe want to reduce my word character count. So there I can see I've got 763 words, and I might want to reduce it down. And I'm going to be a little bit realistic. Let's try to 500 words. It says I've got quite a lot of text. Maybe I should go a little bit shorter, but that should be fine. And what you'll see now is it's taking all of this text that I've highlighted, and in the best way that it can, it is going to then reduce the word, or if you want it to work in character, you can in character count. So I can see there's my word target, 467. I can scroll down and I can see 302. And I can see all the different word targets that I've got. I can also click on show difference to see what changes has it made to reduce that word count. It's really crafted. It looks at what can it remove, what can it take away in order to hit that target and hit that for you. If I'm happy with my option, if all of my text is highlighted, as you can see, that whole section is highlighted. If I just click on, again, this little arrow over here, it will then replace my text. So if my text is highlighted, it will then replace my text for me. So just an easy and swift way to work within the tool while you're busy writing and editing. And as you can see, there's a whole lot of functionality that you can use here within Autogen, which I won't be able to cover everything off today, but it's just a good starting point for you to see exactly what we can do. So now that I've got some ideas, maybe I want to know exactly a little bit more information. And this extract tool is really great. It's kind of in the name, same way ideator, ideas is in the name, extract is in the name. So this is a fantastic place if you want to. So this is my library. As you can see, you've got loads of documents here. I can also upload files, or I can paste in text. And files, maybe you want to upload your RFP or your ITT. You select which document you're working on. So you can see I've got a specification there. And here I might want to extract specific information. I might want to get a summary, a custom summary. I want to get a summary on data protection or privacy, education. And I'd simply type it in here. So I would say data protection. And I can click enter, and I can do maybe a maximum of 3, and I can also determine the length of that summary that I want. We've got critical bid decision information, pulling out requirements, compliance, those non-negotiables, dates and timelines, bid questions even from an ITT. Fantastic. If I click on history, you can see all the ones that I've previously done. So here's a summary of a document. It's summarized it down into 462 words. Here's the priorities from that specification, really highlighting that for me, extracting that core information so I can deduce exactly what this bid is about really quickly. Fantastic for those prepare and qualify phases in the very beginning stages of your bid, maybe helping you with those go, no go decisions. This is where I extracted the bid decision information, really pulling out key things that might help me decide, are we even going to bid for this? Is this something that we can do? Dates and timelines, really specific on the dates and timelines with this extraction, which is really great, giving me a picture of what this bid process is going to look like. So extract allows you to get a decent summary from the beginning. Now we're going to head over to research. So while ideas is great for getting ideas, extract is great to extract that information, research is your intelligent research partner, where you can ask anything about your specific documents that you have in your library. Your answer bank, which is where you would hold all your, let's say, your PQQ information, or even the internet. So in research, not only can you research documents, but you can also do a comparison between two different documents to spot the difference. You can be really specific on the type of sources that you want to pull information from, essentially. So if you are wanting to do a web search, you can ensure that it's only pulling from your company website, and you can make sure that it's avoiding Wikipedia, for example. And you can add as many websites that you want to include or exclude in your research search. And then with your library, you have the ability, and this is throughout the software as well, you have the ability to specify which documents in your library you wanted to pull from. So I toggle that off and I can choose, you know what, I only wanted to pull from that AutogenAI hub. I only wanted to look in that specific place, and that's where I wanted to get its information from. So you have the ability to do that, or you can generate using all documents in your library. In addition to this, you'll be able to add variables, which I will show you a little bit later how that works, where you can do multiple searches at the same time. Or you can have a pro search, which favors quality over speed. So it gives you a more in-depth ask. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say, how can AutogenAI software support companies in their bid writing process? The same question I wanted to ask earlier, but I thought it would be better to ask now. And I'm going to click go. And I'm going to get a nice piece of information. And what's really fantastic here is I can see exactly where my sources have come from. And it gives me inline citations. Now, what's really brilliant about Autogen is the way we harness agentic AI. What that means is it allows not only to pinpoint to a specific source, but it can tell you exactly where in that source this information has been pulled from. So here you can see I've got my sources, and it lists all the sources. Again, I can go directly to those documents if I want to. I can also just click on that and it will take me there, as I said, if I needed to, or if it's from my organization library, it will pop up and then it will highlight the exact paragraph in this file where it's pulled that information from. And that's the power of agentic AI. So now I can see I've got a nice body of text here about how AutogenAI, the software itself, can support companies in their bid writing process. And maybe I want to ask a follow-up question. So I'm going to say, list the above in 10 bullet points. And I'm going to click enter. And now it's going to take the above information and it's going to turn it into 10 bullet points. So here in the research, we have the ability to do iterative prompting. This means that it allows us to continuously work within that session. It uses the information above to provide, as you can see here, into 10 bullet points. I might want to take that further. I'm going to say, provide the same information for, and now I'm going to use my variables to compare. Let's say I'm going to click on this companies here. So I'm going to compare UK bid writing companies to US proposal writing companies. I want to have a comparison on the two. So I'm going to have that same question, same information, but one for the UK and one for the US. And with the variables, as you can see, it's going to be two separate searches. So it's going to do UK bid writing companies as one search and US proposal writing companies as another search. The variables allows you to do multiple searches at the same time. Okay. It's pulling from its information. What's really handy is you'll have the ability to also edit your responses if you want to. You can either regenerate responses, you can copy your text as is, or you can copy it with the citation. So here's for your UK bid writing company. If I drop this down, I can see the sources that it's used. And then here for US proposal writing, I drop this down, I can see exactly what documents and sources it's used. And then just as a last thing to show you and to end off the session, I want to compare the UK and the US companies in a table. And this is just a quick example to show you how the depths of how you can use research and how you can pull that information and really generate it into different and creative ways. So if you are interested in learning more, then please reach out to info@autogenai.com, where we can go into a little bit more depth and walk you through the software in a little bit more detail. As you've seen, I've just scratched the surface in the webinar today, and without being able to take you into more depth. But fantastic. A recording of this webinar will be sent to everyone. And again, if there are any questions, we will reach out to you with your answers if we don't get round to everybody. But now I'm going to head over to the Q&A to see all the questions that have been answered and to just go through the questions that we've got there. So Jill said, please advise if the recording will be sent to attendees afterwards. Yes, the recording will be circulated afterwards for you to have a look. Laura has said, can you drag or drop documents created elsewhere? So import from Google Drive. Yes, you can. With Extract, you'll be able to drag and drop, as you can see here, and upload your files that way. And then in your library, you'll have the ability to create private libraries, have separate folders and files, or even connect to SharePoint. Fantastic. Yes, there is a reference in the citation text. So for example, in research over here, if I just take you through to this one, if I want to click copy, I can click copy with citations, or I can copy the text alone. If I go to a document at the bottom here, you'll see it says view sources. I can click view sources, and it tells me at any time that I'm working exactly what sources are here with the text on my page. And you'll see library sources and internet sources. Fantastic. Then does the search source Internet AI draw from social media posts, TikTok, Facebook, etc.? So internet, as Tess has mentioned, it will draw from information that lives across the internet, including sites that you've mentioned. You'll always be able to see which website it has found the information from, so you can determine whether it's reliable and if it's included in your bid. So that's where it really does rely on that human judgment, that human element, where you would do your due diligence. So again, if I'm looking here and I can see, oh gosh, I'm not really sure, like, what is this website? And I would go do my due diligence and see exactly where that has come from. With the research, as I mentioned here, in the source providers, you can specifically include the websites that you want to avoid. Would this AI be able to summarize the past work or knowledge, or identify knowledge gaps in proposal based on statistical data, and produce figures, plots, tables, and graphical data? So yes, Autogen can summarize past work and identify knowledge gaps. In terms of statistical data, it'd be great to understand the question in more detail, so we'll follow up. But as you've seen here, I have been able to create tables, to create a table for you. And essentially, the output that you get is going to be as good as the output you insert, I suppose, into the text. So there's a couple of live questions online, as you can see. Being able to make proposals based on facts and statistical data, and to argue based on facts. Yes, of course you can. So as mentioned, it's as good as the information that you upload. So in your library, if you have your library and your body of knowledge uploaded with reams of information, even if it is in graphs, even if it is in table format, it will be able to read that and understand that and pull it into, for example, a case study if you needed it to. So 100%, and then you can choose and specify to only pull from those documents. PowerPoint presentations are supported. What you can do, which I haven't managed to show you is once you are done, you can decide if you want to export it to a document, convert it to PowerPoint, or even export to a templated Word document. So by templated, I mean to your company's templates, your logos, things like that. When you do export a document, it should keep the company layout. And yes, when I say templated, it would be then to your branded document. The next question is, currently in AutogenAI, I don't see the comparison and drop down enabled. When it will be made live? So welcome if you are an existing client. That will depend on your project lead and when they are prepared to have that turned on for you. So how can it be that 1,000 of documents to the library during onboarding? So I'm assuming you're asking about uploading documents. Essentially, you go through a security process, and the entire team goes through that sign-off process, allowing you to then, once you have purchased AutogenAI, you'll then have the ability to either connect to SharePoint or upload documents directly here to Autogen, where you can use the library and ensure that it's generating from your library. Just to show you here in your settings, you also have the ability to disable the internet. So if you only want to be working in your library, you can do that as well. But obviously, if you are wanting to do research and doing some competitive analysis, maybe some client research, you can use the library, use the websites and companies' websites to be a little bit more particular. Okay. I think that's all the questions. I'll just see if there's anything else I've missed. So is the Pro in research a new feature? Yes, it is really exciting. Please tell me if you have integrations with SharePoint and when you can, and if it can read it importing files to the library. So it's a one-way mirror. So yes, we integrate with SharePoint, but it's not something that we can look into your SharePoint and see further. You can sync with a specific library or a site and then have it linked with relevant proposals and writing. Awesome. I think those are all the questions that we've got at the moment. If you have any more questions, and yes, your data is most definitely protected. We've got secure ISO agreement, and if you are interested, we can send you our sort of policies and our trusted guides on our data and our trust center. That's the word I was looking for. But thank you all so much. Again, your questions, if you have any more questions, we'll respond to you via email. But if you do have any more questions or you want to find out a little bit more, learn a little bit more about Autogen, please do email info@autogenai.com. Thank you so much for coming, and I hope you will have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you.